Hello everyone! How are you guys doing? Can you hear me? Is the music alright? See. Five by five. Never heard that. If that's an expression. Nice, nice. Volume not too bad. No interferences, no nothing. Right, just give people an additional minute while I set some stuff up here. Let's see. We'll be doing a little bit of talking before jumping into first a bit of Blender, then Substance Painter. I think what I'm kind of doing is showing the various workflows that you can have, and last stream was, you know, Blender and Blender only. Though, as some of you might know, the VOD on that wasn't saved. Twitch seems to have eaten it. I did enable the setting right before going on stream, and currently right now I'm doing a local recording in case it happens again. If it happens again, I will have to send another help email, even though I'm very sure the responses I got when I asked about that was had to be AI. I'm very certain. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know. That's actually kind of cool. Is that like probably like an older thing, right? Like saying 10-4 to say basically affirmative. Blooper reel. Yeah. Now what I'm considering is actually redoing that first stream in some kind of way, just to show that you can do everything in Blender. But if I do that, I will probably do that like as an offline recording. Thank you, Vin and Norvis. Thank you very much. Took a lot of work. This is I like trying new things, and I've been very much a 3D guy for a long while, and then just got the impulse to do something different when going into the streaming game. This is Grease Pencil, the 2D animation tools in Blender. Also something I would like to cover on the stream. And yeah, and the background is just traditional illustration inside an art program, of course. But let's see. Will this work? You guys should see my toolbar sometime. I'm gonna post that on social media or something. It's so big right now. All the icons. Ah, Man of Class, Mulgardo. Yeah, no, there's some things inside my soundtracks here that are most of it is like video game stuff, but there's some internet culture stuff as well. I don't know if anybody caught the KK slider, the little slider thing in the opening. It was actually like a Beatles cover with KK slider. So there's a lot of surprises there in my own playlist, and I'm almost scared of my playlist because I did put things in there hoping for accidental timing and comedy at my own expense. We'll see how that plays out. Right. Let's see. Yeah, I really also, much like you, Mulgarden, need like a dance emote or something here. Give it another minute or so. It's kind of funny that last stream I feel kind of went out without much hitch. There's still stuff I know I gotta do, just really haven't had the time to do it. But you know, it'll come in due time. Getting like a bot in here, and my sort of ambition is to hopefully one day make affiliate, so we can have some emotes, fun stuff like that in here. But right now, taking it kind of casually, trying for 1, maybe 2 streams a week, depending on how busy I am. The sound thing on OBS is showing a little bit red when I talk, so is the volume on me okay, or am I too loud? I would have figured this out last time if Twitch had managed to save the recording. Oh god, this track. The volume is okay, but the music is a little loud. Okay, I'm turning down the music a little bit. Okay, sorry about the volume thing. This is what streamers do, checking the audio. So yeah, is this all right now? It's at -6 decibel. Okay, I'll raise it up a little bit back there. Okay, so we'll just get into this now, I think. And if there's any problems, then yeah, just speak out. So, hello everyone, welcome to the first stream, we'll probably call this, given what happened to the VOD and just my own inexperience. Oh, nice, some Grim Fandango. And yeah, some of you knew, some of you were here last time. What I did last time was I used Blender to make a trash can. You can see that on my social media. I'll do like a replication of that sometime. But what I'll be doing now is showing more of my process using a program called Substance Painter. So for those of you who might not know me, I'm developing a game called Combustion, and the technique I'm going to be showing today is something I call like an optimal workflow. You know, you can spend an eternity juggling between Blender, Substance Painter, and then Photoshop. A problem with those two last pieces of software are the Adobe nature of them. So what you'll see I'll be doing is I'll be using Substance Painter 2001, I think, which is like was the last Substance Painter you could purchase and own a permanent license of. This was before it was owned by Adobe. So what I'll be doing is actually make an asset that I know is going to appear in my game, which is something of a leather chair. So not hugely complicated modeling, that's not where we will have the main focus today, that will be inside of Substance Painter. So I'm just gonna have a little reference on my side here. And if there's anything at all, people, do speak up, do reach out. So what we'll be doing is, we have to do the ritual, right? I know it's a meme, but just want to have faith in. Oh, it's the world. And yeah, I also need to have like some key plugins to show the keys that I'm using in here. Yeet the cube, exactly. Yeah, it's you hit the nail on the head, Zephyr. It's like it's one of those. So it's gonna have a little bit of extra polish to sort of chamfer the edges, and you have to think about, you know, rough estimation size on this. This will try to be conventional human size, and I say that because if you've seen my game Combustion, all the characters are like anthropomorphic animal characters with a wide array of varying sizes, and that's why a lot of times when I make assets for Combustion, they are actually I make multiples in different sizes. It's not something as extreme as something in, say, Zootopia, but it's definitely there. This is the reason why Combustion has 5 different toilets. Let's see here. Actually, we probably want to mirror this, right? I think this is from a fan game based on Mother. Just really like it, and it has like the ending of it really reminds me of the Celebrate Good Times come out song. I don't know what it's actually called. So I'm just cleaning up some stuff here, especially since this will be low. Just looking at the reference right now. Yeah, probably something. Let's see with it. Do we want that? Probably want that, right? Okay. I'm just gonna knife tool away a little. Forever kind of distrustful of the knife tool, though it seems to have itself out. Good, good, clean enough. Is it like chamfered a little in this part, I wonder? Probably, right? Actually, I could have done it so and there to save half a second of time. And I'm doing a little bit below here just because you never know when I'm gonna like use the underside on something like this. So again, it's kind of always like an interesting thing because it's sort of organic and inorganic in shape at the same time. So probably erase that like so. Like that. Do you want it like entirely up? Gets a little bit of the pillowiness going. I'll probably do it like shedding it smooth. And if it were our last stream, we're just gonna quickly use the having like a moment here. Because I'm using 3 versions of Blender, so my head gets a little messed up. I'm just reading Malgaro. Yeah, everybody, it's like if you're born left or right-handed. Right? Where is the auto smooth on? Hang on, let me just Google that. I'm like having my first case of streamer eyes here. Is it under object properties? Or wait, is it has it become the... No? Hello, Mr. Bismuth. Happy you could pop in. Right now I'm just trying to figure out why I can't find the auto smooth. Mulgari, you work in new Blender. Where the flip is it? Yeah, no, that's definitely what's going on here. I did figure out... Yeah. Yeah, I'm like googling and it says like, oh, auto smooth is back in Blender 4.2, so... I'm just gonna modeling a little while we figure that one out. Let's see. The merging and clipping here to avoid the sort of seaming issue you saw there. Hang on, does it have like geometry? Oh yeah, because of the extrusion. Let's see. We're probably gonna, because I know they have like a little bit of legs, but we're gonna do that more so in the texture detailing. So can we cheese a little bit of chamfering beveling here? Yes, we can. We just need to do some cleanup. So. So, looking like a nice chair. Yeah, that's actually interesting that you say, Zephyr. The reason why I'm not doing a size variant or whatever you want to call it on this one, unlike other models that I do, is we want indent here. Maybe we do. It's because you just scale this up and it's fine. Yeah. Need to like watch, open up like a video here just to find out where it is. Just one moment. So I'm really, you know, learning just as much as you guys. Okay, so, okay. Object. There's like a shade photos. Okay, so, okay. Got there in the end. There we are. Something like this. We'll live with this. Okay, that's better. Okay, so if you're curious what happened there is, yeah, Blender changes things sometimes. I'm doing a lot of this streaming also to get more familiar with newer Blender, and sometimes stuff is just changed around in odd ways. I can try and make this, and this probably needs a little bit more backside. So we want it a little bit. Sorry, I think this song is going on a little long. Ooh, World of War. I really like that game. And I especially love the idea of it. I'm just trying to optimize some polygons here. Like, I have like there's like a type of game. I like it in board games. I like it in video games. I like it in role-playing games, which is kind of a little bit of mystery, and like I have some very fond memories of older games that even did this. Like, there's an old game that isn't really good in the grand scheme of things called Dracula in London, but I really have fond memories for that, and one day I feel like I'm gonna replicate something that feels like a spiritual successor to that game. That's just, you know, just the mystery, figuring things out with a cast of characters. Arkham Horror is really fun for that. In World of Horror, you're of course alone, but you still have like all the characters, all the interactions, all that fun stuff. Definitely Zephyr. I am planning on doing a Final Fantasy VII type thing in the future. But doing more obscure stuff is definitely something I also want to do. Let me just save here. Leather chair. We'll be doing some unwrapping. That's it. Let me also just catch up on chat here. Okay. Glad everything's all right. I like blessing and curse with like a 3. We did monitor my distance, right? Yes. And everything's good there. Just a little tendency to though it's probably fine to be flat. I wonder if we actually, because the reference I'm looking at has like a small indent here that I kind of like. So we could do something like. It's like the... Okay, that's not too bad. And we can do, you know, further optimizations like this. Isn't doing a lot shape-wise, I think. Could. Handy tool for those of you using Blender is you can move stuff around, right? By hitting G, but double tapping G lets you do stuff like that. So there's probably a better... You can do auto-merge stuff, but I don't trust it because it's just going to merge with things unintentionally, so I just like to do it like so. Then I can hit merge by distance, move 4 vertices, it says on the bottom. So, yeah. Let's see if we... This is one of those... It's comfy, but it has a little rigidity to it type type chair. I think what we need is a little bit of cushioning. Just a little bit, just a little. If Turbo Smooth will play nice. Might not. Okay. I think we're actually gonna leave it like that. Because what we'll also be doing is a little bit of sculpting on this. Kind of as a test, but Substance Painter, like the software used to texture stuff, allows you to bake, which is, you know, the act of getting normal ambient occlusion, all those types of information from high poly models. So there will actually be a high poly of this, and you might wonder why I'm doing that when I'm doing low poly, and you'll see, because we're gonna be putting some of that detail back into the diffuse. So stick around for that. A little bit round like that. Does that break too much? Breaks a little. Maybe I shouldn't have. No, okay. It's not like that. Let's see if we fatten it up with Alt S to make it even thicker. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of lead to it. So. A little bit. Ooh. Arcanum. I know exactly what you mean, Dever. Okay, now we can do some UVs on this. I'll keep it fairly basic because, you know, the magic will be in the... Just trying to save some polys here. Depends on... Can we weather it? No. We can definitely do it on that, so... Distance. Trying to make sure everything connects to something. Okay. Oop. I wonder, like it's kind of scary to have guys like Molgado in chat. Like, love him dearly, but it's like, oh god, he's the professional. So while I'm doing this, I'm like thinking, oof, yee. And of course, as described earlier, streamer brain and everything. Let's see, just marking some seams. I really hope to meet Mark Seam in person someday. That's little UV message here, right? Ah, Battler in the Toshin, that's one I grew up with. Can we do it like so? I'm just gonna experiment a little with the UVs. Another thing is that I know I'm gonna need is there's like a... Let me just try some. See? Okay, going into the UV editing window. I know this is... Whoop. probably not gonna be the hottest thing, but yeah, I need like a there's like a UV packing tool that I use. Yeah, the form movement. Okay, interesting. What I'm gonna be doing here and is available as well. So I'm gonna apply like a pattern to this, and there is like, at least in old Blender, like a generic UV pattern you can use for to view if something has any stretch. Problem with that is that you tell it to generate that type of pattern at like a low resolution, and it's so low resolution that it loses some of its, because you're gonna see it has values on it, numbers, and those help. And if those are so low resolution that we can't even tell what the numbers are, then it kind of loses a little bit of the point. So I'm trying to find that texture right now. I do know what it is. I'm gonna scale this down, I know, to 64 by 64, but I think actually it's, to illustrate some of the points, I think I'm gonna use 128 by 128. There we are. So you see the numbers here. This is the same pattern as the one Blender generates for you, but especially at like the 64 by 64, the numbers become very hard to read. So, closest there. And you know, it's not the worst thing, actually. There's optimizations you can do here. Because one thing, and there might be some, because you pack the islands. What I want is like at least a pixel's worth of distance from each other to avoid bleed, which is what the aforementioned plugin helps me with. And so rotation method, margin method, scale, like this is like, okay, what is margin in this example here? Oh, please don't crash. Please don't crash. Okay. Okay. I can do this a little bit manually. It's basically what you want is some distance from each of them, because we're gonna do the pixel trick that we did last time, which is kind of to settle them. There's a lot of low poly artists out there, but it feels almost dangerous, or it's very community to try and get this sort of thing to work, which is very fitting because we are going to be using a plugin as well in Substance Painter called Pixelator. Right. There's nothing that is too small. This is roughly. Okay. Just gonna constrain to image bound so I can. Actually, I'm not gonna do that because Substance Painter does bleed a little bit over the edges. There's aesthetics for that, but a little bit lazy. So we're soon about to start texturing. Okay. It's a little bit figuring out size right there, and spread there. This middle part. A little, maybe we straighten that out. There's a little bit of the trickery, it's like getting that uniformity in, so that it bleeds over into this. Good thing about, or I would say, like when you're working with high resolution textures and models, seams and things like that become very hard to track or hard to see. It's very easy on low poly, but it's also partly in the style. Let's see. Really funny that this is Age of Conan, developed by Funcom, which was before my time, but yeah, I did actually work a short period, or short, I was there over a year at least, until I was let go. That was actually my first job. I'm a sucker for those string instruments. And yeah, of course I forgot the bottom here. And things I would, kind of do is, you give priorities to certain areas. So this could probably definitely be like half size and everything, but I think it's fine. It's fine. So just gonna settle this. So because just try to explain a little bit like I did last time, is that you're moving these around, and they have like you can move inside of pixels, but you don't want that when doing, well, you can do it of course, like if you have a mirror thing like here, for instance, you could like, because this now becomes like a kind of like a double pixel, so you could like go in there and settle it so it's like half and half. Actually, it would be here. It's kind of that already, because if you snap the pixel, it will be like double wide, but that's also fine. Yeah, I was a little baby intern. Okay. Let's settle this. Not like in a confrontational way, but... So... I like to straighten things out a little bit, just to get that clean look, because this is... Which side is this? Oh, it's the... Yes. And you can see here now, for instance, you see how the pixels go from one to the other seamlessly. You see how it's like the same size of the pixels, and this is also why we use the UV island textures, that you see which island is where, and then you can sort of I like to match up the pixel density, I guess you would call it. And you don't need to do that everywhere, but keeping it at a similar type level. And you can, when we're gonna like export and go into Substance Painter, you can just jump back into Blender and fix things as you want to. Another thing is, we have such powerful hardware nowadays, is that you can sit here and tweak indefinitely, but there's actually nothing wrong with, say, for instance, using this as a 128 and 128, and just, be conservative about how much space that you want. It depends on what you're doing. If it's like a large project like my game, for instance, you generally want like a pixel consistency, but even the classics don't necessarily have that. Got to move to the studio. Wonder what that means. Right, now we're gonna export this, and we are going into Substance Painter and go on a little introduction there. Let's see. It's like... Ta-da! Substance Painter 2021. I think it is 2021. No, it's actually 2020, sorry. As I said, the last one available for a full-time purchase. And so, gonna open our model here and get into the nitty-gritty of the texture work. Okay, I see there's some stuff that the stream isn't picking up. I'll look into that, and I'm just opening the file right now. Yeah, and for those curious, I don't do anything extra, I just import it. So here we have our chair. This is me moving the light. And so this is where it's a little bit interesting, because this is conventionally used for high poly texture work, really. And you'll see that because if you see here the texture size, we can actually only go down to 128 by 128. But even if you do that, it's super blurry. And that's why we're going to be using a plugin called Pixelator, Pixel 8R. This. I'm gonna just made by Action Dog, which is a person I actually did some artwork for once, for one of their tutorials. Comes highly recommended. I hope I can post links in my own chat, right? Right. Cool beans, cool beans. Because, okay, I'm gonna assume some basic familiarities on things here. But if it's confusing at any point, just stop me, ask questions. So, and I'm gonna be doing the baking that I mentioned, kind of just as an experiment and to show you guys a little bit how it works. But I think I'll just show how to do something super quick, like the minimal effort approach. I'll do the minimal effort approach, then the more fancy one. That probably sounds alright, right? So, inside this software, it's basically like a painting tool, right? You can paint on your model. You have these materials you can apply onto it. You see, you move light around, so you can get like a good look how it looks with all of that. And some of the brilliant parts, though, be a little bit careful because, well, depends on the company. In both definitions of the word company, both people and studios, these masks are some of the things we'll be using to smartly apply detail on things. You'll see these are things like crumbles, dirt, rust. These are like it uses the information of your model, the various baked mesh maps, which you cannot see. There's like a baking window. Is there actually some kind of let me see if I can find some way of capturing this. I know what you'd call it, sub window. It's a window capturer. Test. Let's see. Okay, you can. Just checking my own stream. Hi Rush. Hi everyone. Of course, the entire Morrowind soundtrack is in this playlist. There's Morrowind, there's Arcanum, there's Fallout, there's old XCOM, there's old Jagged Alliance, there's so much old RPG. There's Deus Ex, the original Deus Ex. You won't be lacking for good content there. So the only thing is with this is that it exists a little bit of an odd window. Okay. So quickest way of doing this is that you have, this is baking. Those familiar with 3D software will kind of know what this is. It's just very, I find it kind of streamlined, because like I remember having to use XNormal. Does anybody else remember XNormal? Probably still use XNormal, right? Remember that? That and Crazy Bump. That's like the asylum I grew up on. But what I like about Substance Painter is, you know, all the stuff that you get in there. Now, baking, what it does is it uses sort of light projections on your model to get detail, and we'll be using those maps for various things, and the software will be using it. And going by the first quickest method is that I will keep this at the actual high enough size, because we're going to be compressing things down into low poly. So the quickest way is to use low poly mesh as high poly mesh, which is totally viable, totally fine. It's just if you have like a higher detail model, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of that with some creases and stuff, it will put that into these maps. And it will use these maps. So for instance, if I have like a slash through this, it will use that in one of these modifiers. So for instance, if there's dirt on it, it will maybe ignore or put like crust around that level. Oh, speaking of old RPGs, we got some some RuneScape. So now I'm baking. A little while. Right. So you have this little window here. Oh, I see it's doing. Does it? Okay, good. So now we have these maps in projects here. Oop. These are the various. We're only interested in some of these, mainly ambient occlusion and thickness. The program is interested in normal curvature, world space, and everything. But we'll actually, and now we're gonna get into some of the tricks that I use. Ambient occlusion. This one is cool because. Right now we're viewing this in kind of like viewing it in like a game engine context, right? So it has like an active lighting. But if I hit the C key, I can. Well, we need the material first. Again, go through. You see this white here. This is actually how our model actually looks. Without any lighting, and you know, if you know low poly, you know that the trick is getting as much detail as possible inside of the actual model. And so a really easy trick is to first of all just make sure that you're only working with color. We're only working on color. This is very much like Photoshop or other more wholesome programs. We just click and drag this. So you see, we've already gotten some detail using only the ambient occlusion. And you see, you know, it has some problems because of how low poly our model is. But even so, another easy trick is to apply a filter. Okay, filter, blur. You can also do this by hand, by the way. You see now we smooth that out. And this is again without any lighting. You can go hit M to go back to see it with lighting, material view. But this is how it looks without any lighting, just the pure base color, the albedo diffuse texture. And you can go in here and you know, do like a masking thing if you don't want the ambient occlusion there. Maybe you do want it. The other one, basically same trick, so I'm actually gonna hit Ctrl D to duplicate this. and just do the thickness instead. It's a little different. I kind of tend to invert it because it darkens around the edges of something. So if you want to like add some, you know, if you were doing like a mechanical machine, you would maybe invert it and make that highlights and sort of scratch that up so it sort of looks like weathering on the surface. We'll keep this, and do multiply. So just do, now I'm gonna cheat a little, because this is like the first path, simple, lazy version. I'm just gonna apply a leather material, and you know this is no good, but because we would have to do more with it. But you can see how it looks without, with, without, with. And that's like kind of great, right? And so if you're really lazy, you just, you know, add whatever materials you want, like wood. And we'll get to the pixelization stuff, but you see how fast you can do work inside of this thing? Let's see. Now I'll also, I think just for the pixel purposes, we apply the pixelator. I think there's one version after this that I haven't updated to yet. Yeah, just apply that. And you see, this is nifty because it does do the pixelization that we want. And we can adjust the size, and we went with power of 2 128 by 128. So, and dithering, you'll notice there's an amogus. You see this? See this? Of course, love it. But it's viable, man, if you're really subtle about it. I do sometimes like to use patterns on things, adjust the blend strength. Another thing is the downscale method. I actually like using nearest softer rather than nearest neighbor. It depends on what you're doing. If you're doing like a crispy type video game texture, if you were to like I don't know, for instance, make a texture out there that is in the style of an old console like the NES or SNES, where the pixel art is paramount, I would use nearest the neighbor. But this is like looking like something like Metal Gear Solid type stuff, where it has like an implication of real world detail. That's fine, Dave. That's fine, Dave. I think something I just really want to say to everyone is, you know, super big thanks for everybody joining, able to watch me work on stuff like that. But there's no obligation. There's nothing like that. So, you know, if you have time, that's nice. But if you don't have time, you don't have to. And even if you just don't feel like it, there's no expectation. I want this whole stream thing to be nice and without pressures. So we have this, and there's one final trick that I like to do for some additional detail. It's like the ambient occlusion is nice, but we can also, you see, it's like full bright in the old Half-Life games. We might want additional lighting detail. Actually, there's one more trick, which is the mask, so I'll just do that first. So, say we want some weathering around the edges of this. I would make a new layer, extract some color, because we can do stuff with, we're gonna do stuff as well with the height of this. But what we're gonna do is like make it weathered around the edges. And you see we have several things that have, I don't know if it's coming through, but it's there's various of these that has edge in the name. Concrete edge. And these work different ways, like this is more inside concave type stuff, cavity rust. This is actually also another thing why I like to use a high poly sometimes, because depends on how the computer translates edges. And another one which I really like is the dirt ones. Actually, let's go with these. This is kind of handy that it understands what is the bottom. Do something like this. And if we were to apply height, for instance, oh yeah, now we actually get into the other thing, because now we're currently working without any lighting data, but we're going to be baking that in. That is where baked lights come in, and I'm going to explain the little bit order of things here. It's gonna look wrong at first, but relax, trust the process. You got this, Dave, don't worry. Hello, Cinnamon Cookies. I appreciate the raccoon. I hope one day to make affiliate so I can make my own emotes here, and you'll know at least one of them will feature a raccoon, right? So what we want is to simulate lighting on this. The order is, I always keep Pixelator at the top, because that is the thing that pixelates everything in the end. Then a baked lighting environment material underneath that. And then pretty much everything else with the ambient occlusion usually on top. Things get a little bit more fussy down here, but that's how I like to use it. Just remember to use modifier like multiply, otherwise it'll only do it'll do the full whiteness of the ambient occlusion. So this modifier, we click the this part of it. It's lacking currently an environment map. You see there's several ones that comes free with Substance Painter, but you can add more. You can use these more abstracted ones, or you can use HDR ones based on actual environments. So, if we use this for instance, or maybe this one, you see it's like setting up lighting conditions, like see, different lighting conditions, and you'll actually see that now the mask we were operating on, you see here, you see how it sort of goes inwards when I turn this down, or outwards. That's it reacting to the baked lighting environment, and you can go inside of here and sort of simulate. Let's change it to something like, there's like two in here that I try to like use. Increase the exposure, play with the height intensity even, mirror around. So this is, you know, a lazy way of doing it, because I haven't used the high poly or gone into much detail here. But you can see how, if you're pressed for time, you can do things with this incredibly fast, I find. And you know, you can go into these modifiers, play with the various variables. So now I would say this, compared to how it looked without, this looks a little flat. Now it looks you know, supremely worn down, but it has some more details. And you know, I'm very impressed with things like the old Silent Hill games, where all this sort of detail is. They did a semi-similar method a lot of the time. You know, that was definitely the era of pre-rendering, and they would like pre-render stuff, make it into texture, and do some hand painting on top of them. Like this ground dirt that I talked about is very good at like blending it with its environment, because without this, depending on how things look on the ground, it can stick out quite a lot. Thank you, Farrell. And thank you everyone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 raccoons. Thank you. Yeah, I'm with you, Pipe here. Pre-rendered is such a lovely aesthetic. I'm always glad when it's there. There's some pre-rendered parts in Combustion actually, and while they took a lot of work to do, like it appears in the game's menu, I'm very glad that I did it. So, okay, this is like the lazy version of doing this, and I do a lot of stuff by hand. And what I was trying to say earlier is, you can sort of tell, especially if you work with this a while, you can sort of tell what's done using this methodology. This is like a very popular way of doing things right now. A lot of games do it like this. I really love it, of course I do, because, you know, I used this in my own game, but just a little bit more extra touch to like mixing in some wood here on the bottom, getting in the creases and everything will help elevate this. And as long as it's underneath the baked lighting environment, you can actually go in and, you know, do all the details I'm gonna extrapolate from this by hand. Like you see how it's reacting to the sofa there. There's so much texture detail that it's having some time or some problems actually seeing it. So I would do like a combination of it. We want to do pieces. They might. Yeah. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna not be lazy. I know, scary thing. We're gonna go back into Blender. We're gonna sculpt a couple of details. Go back in here, bake it, and apply some more materials. Play around more with the masks. So basically the same setup, but more detail oriented. So yes. This should work. Oh no! It's Coconut Mall in lower key. Or minor key, sorry. So back inside the Blender. Just gonna make a copy of this. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna break out the Sculpt tool. Just get some more detail on it. And what we're gonna do is... Oh, okay. Oh yes, oh, of course. That's the... There's a few ways of doing this. I think we're gonna try using the Dino Topo option. This is like dynamic topology option. Because now this has very few polygons, but we're gonna enable this. Yeah. I think we should apply our mirror. Like this as well. We should probably do like a thing, Rush Nerd, with the trash can that we made last time. Okay, let's see what Dino Topo can do for us. Attribute data. Yeah. Just telling me that all the UV stuff will be gone, because this model or this version of the model is going to be our high poly. So I'm just going to test to see how, because this is detailed size 12. So if I, yeah. So you see now it's like dynamically applying detail, right? Probably want a little bit more than that. And I forget if this is a case of big number. Small number good on this. Okay. Probably should like do a little bit too. I think there's like a detail fill. It's gonna be too bothered with it if it's not. Density. Yes, there we are. This is just applying some detail on it. Right, smooth. And you'll see that it looks a little bit strange, don't worry about it. Like the chamfering of the edges and everything just helps us in Substance Painter. Do have like a tablet, and I'm wondering if I should break it out, but there's a case where probably not, just because not everybody has a tablet. This is drawing nice and easy. Ooh. And there's like a should. Isn't that the? You can just mirror it, of course, but or is it under the tools? By the way, I did actually find out how to apply one pixel painting. Something I struggled with last time. Don't worry, Wardock. This is just for some detail. Why is it? Is it because it doesn't have itself applied? Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay. Sure. Whatever you say, Blender. Whatever you say. We're just gonna be doing some simple details here to put into program. Let the chair. And this, in the end, will be like a black leather chair. And the reason why I think it's a good okay. The reason why I think it's a good fit for this sort of base tutorial is simply that it'll have some specularity to it, and so that's why it's very handy to bake those details into the texture. You can do that by hand, but it's a little bit difficult. So just painting with the mouse, just following the basics of our reference, and keep it rough, because if you go into too much detail here, what will happen is you're going to be having to do some manual pixel work, or you'll want to do that, I should say. Or I'll want to do that. Again, depends on how much time I have, how lazy you are, that sort of thing. And old Animal Crossing is such a vibe. I like the new stuff as well, but the stuff I miss. I'm one of those firmly in the make animal characters mean again camp. Is there like a grab function? Draw. Grab or elastic grab. Keeping things fairly straight. I know this looks a little bit off. called like inflate, right? Inflate our chair a little bit into something that looks fairly organic, right? Patterns and such you can also do in Blender, of course. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna want to do that sort of thing mostly in Substance Painter. Ever seen the new Wallace and Gromit short? Or short, it was actually a movie. I really liked it. I'm just filling in some detail, we'll be doing the creases soon. Is it not? Ah, it's because of the... Yes. That's fine. Drosh. Okay, that's a little bit. Just to have some nice blended detail on our model. We can definitely do stuff like that, you know. Cigarette burns, stains, you name it. The reference I'm using as like a them on go through. There we are. Now doing this with the doing this with the mouth is going to be a little bit tricky because you want to have a tablet for things like this to avoid some of the tedious. Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Hubble, for first read. Oh, thank you so very much. Thank you so very, very much. Hello, everyone. I'm Little Norwegians. I'm new to streaming. Thank you very much for joining in here. I'm doing a just showing my workflow from Blender into Substance Painter, doing like this chair here, which looks very clay-like right now, but it's just to get some details in for a bake that we're doing. So if you're interested in low poly at all, yeah, stay a while. Stay a while and listen. As a great man once said. Is there a better tool for this? Like a crease tool or something? Clay is good. Clay is good. I really like working with clay brushes. Grab cloth. Yes, that might actually be a good one. Pinch, fold. Wow, that Blender sculpting has really come a long way. A really long way. You know, there was a long time where so much of the tools in Blender was exclusive to other software, but it's really gotten advanced. Hello, Dr. Wadley. Hello, Happy One. Yeah, it all adds up. It all adds up. Let's actually just try this. Oh my, might have crashed Blender. That's why I saved before I used it. Yeah, combustion's still getting made. Still getting made. It's a whole story. So a story I'll tell more about one day. But the good news, it's definitely still being made. Like the only way it's not gonna get made is if something dire was to happen with me. Which it hasn't done yet. So it's gonna be fine. It's alleviate some of the hocus pocus. It is basically kind of like having tried to do a lot of things, fall into the usual pitfalls a game developer does. So I'm just doing with clay instead, because now I can trust the clay brush. Yeah, I do want to say I'm very glad everybody has been nice, everybody has been supportive and everything. Work on a project like Combustion for a long while, you'll definitely start feeling some things. There's a lot of wisdom gained. So, might become more of a topic in future streams and everything, but if I can share stuff, if today is a little bit how to do something, then there's definitely things I could teach people what not to do. Oh, that was the book. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right, so this, I know how this looks, but that's we're even though we're not being lazy this time, we're actually still trying to be sort of lazy, because you'll see soon enough how this will look inside Substance Painter, and getting too detailed here isn't really a help, because the blend is usually that you can do a lot of implication inside your pixels, but if you do much if you try to showcase 4 things within said pixels, like if you were doing like a high poly keyboard or something and try to bake that, unless you have some way to really know how it's going to look at the end, it's going to be really tricky, and you'll have to typically punch in, refine those pixel details. Okay, we can jump back and forth just to show you guys here. Very basic type chair. I'm gonna call this leather chair. Fine. Make sure it's only the selected object, because yeah, we could do some. We might have to do some shrink wrapping on this, but there are baking tools to get the details on there still. So, jumping back to Substance Painter. There we are. Sorry if that flashbanged you. Okay. So, let's actually just move these. Go back to basics here. We'll keep the baked lights and everything. So go to Bake Mesh, and I'll try and activate that again. Why is it? Should be showing the window. Hang on. Seems like it reset itself. Because what we want is window capture. This is what we want. Right, so back in here, we turn off the use local mesh as hyperpoly mesh. We find see that I added the high poly version of our leather chair, and you can use a cage file which determines how the light projection sort of projects inwards on it. But the one that comes with Substance Painter works for me already. Usually have to turn this a little bit up. So you see here, ta-da! You see how we've gotten some detail from our easy little sculpt? And, you know, there's little things here that I would do, but you know, it gets the creases, and for all the materials, the smart materials, the masks, everything, we'll use our details, because if we go back into project, these ambient occlusion maps and everything use the detail that we also added, so we can do the same trick we did last time. So add a filter, blur, and make sure it's set to multiply. So we got some stuff going on here. We can work with this. And if we use one of the smart materials, there's materials and smart materials. The only huge difference is that the smart materials comes with additional stuff already set up for you, like the mask that we showed earlier. Leather sofa, okay, that makes sense. Okay, but not great. There's other leathers here. And sometimes I cheese it, like I can use... This is... Yeah, see, this is actually plastic. But it kind of looks decent in terms of the specularity and highlights and everything. I'm gonna turn down the pattern here a little bit because it's too noticeable. I want to keep it a little bit subtle. And, you know, we can still muck about with... See this? You see, this is kind of the effect that we want. Because again, this is with lighting, this is without lighting. But you see how much sort of lighting is implied here with the creases, the shine, everything? And, you know, add to that other materials, add to that some personalized brush strokes, which we'll also do. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Is it... Sorry. Okay, sorry guys. I was focusing only on one corner. I'll have to figure that out, because understandably, OBS doesn't like too much you know, when you open something that it shows your entire hard drive type stuff. Not that I have anything to hide. That's a terrible implication, I'm sorry. No. But I understand why it does that. It's just a little bit annoying in terms of, yeah, that I open these little windows here and you guys can't see it. So plastic armor gloss, it looks actually kind of nice. Let's try some other ones and do it like made of metal. Takes a little while. Ooh. And you see, it still kind of works. It looks a little odd in areas and very, you know, full bright specular in places. But you know, you can go in here. You can tweak these settings. You can see that. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's see. Okay, that isn't too bad. It's not too bad either. I think there's some of the... I'm actually not a huge fan of the leather ones. Oh, latex looks a little weird. I don't like the leather ones. Usually you have to do some downsizing because it just adds a lot of noise in my experience. You want something that is a little bit shiny. Not too much. It's also not too bad. You know, you go in here and you change it around. And you see, while this looks good, you have to keep in mind the game that you're making it for. If you bake in too much light, you'll have a problem that if this was in combustion, your character would sit in this, but it would have like this plus the in-game lighting plus some post-processing. Like this staring at the corners of this chair would be like staring into the abyss, right? Hang on, I think this is the track that, like one in here that. No, it's not this one. There's one track I have to remove in my soundtrack that goes on forever. So I'm just gonna look at these. I'm actually kind of happy with some of these already, but just checking my options. I think like number one lesson, if I can ever give a lesson, is like just experiment, try things. You'll find something that works for you. I think it's fine in this context, but yeah, be careful about the steel painted ones because it's very telling when you use them like this. See, that one I see kind of used all the time. But it's like, it's also a bit like, who cares? Maybe we can do this, but brighter. I think this is nice. It's nice, subtle. Just get some highlighting inside of here. Elevate the creases. I can work with this. Let's see. We'll need some wood, like the bottom there and there. Walnut's usually good. Hang on, let me just delete these other ones. Kinda good. Much too nice. And, you know, this is just one method of doing it. That's not too bad. Sometimes I just paint, you know, very much like I did in Blender last time. The exception is just that I do it inside Substance Painter here instead. Too bright. I'm pretty sure that the existing software uses this, right? Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is gonna set this. So yes, this track is from Jagged Lions. I will put it up there actually with Arcanum that I mentioned previously. It's like a little bit forgotten. I know Jagged Lions has gotten games, but it has like a real curse where it can't seem to escape the popularity of its previous incarnations. I think it's also, you know, just a little bit cultural as well, because I read the book actually on the development of Jagged Lions. Is that fine? Yeah. I think that's fine anyway. It's very interesting because it's Surtec and a Canadian company, and it's very funny because this was the era of when there was like a glamour around being a mercenary. There's like Mercenary magazine, that sort of thing. culture around that. I would say it's definitely. It was always like. The thing is, if you play Jagged Lines, it's done entirely ironic because it's done in that old Arnold Schwarzenegger, Reb Brown type style. It's very funny that this company, which also did, funnily enough, Wizardry. That's why when you play Wizardry 8, I think all the voice actors that appear in Jagged Lines also appear there, and they do a great job. It's very funny, but there's very funny development stories from Jagged Lines too, because they're a little Canadian company and they're making this game, and it's very tongue-in-cheek and everything, but they're like getting fan mails from kind of crazy people from the US and such, showing like actual photographs of them owning very illegal firearms with Jagged Lines playing on in the background, and so these guys just had to go and tell police in the US like we're a little bit worried because people had like rocket launchers and machine guns while those were definitely illegal to own. So that's kind of crazy. Hello, Tsunami Okori. Welcome. No worries. The VOD should be saved and everything this time around. So if you are curious about anything, just you can ask now. But you can also just check the VOD later. What I'm doing now is, there is one exception to what I mentioned earlier, is that I do sometimes have to go over the baked lighting environment to affect, because above this you can make any pixel anything, like you can make this fully white and bright, but if it's under the baked lighting environment, you'll see it will always affect it. So when you want like total pixel control, you go about the baked lighting environment. Another thing that you'll see me do is, depending on what I'm working on, I do kind of go the path of least resistance, and sometimes that is just spamming layers. Spamming layers get the results that I want, because it can be very minor stuff, like just because some of this I might want to reduce the opacity, I might want to apply like a blur filter, things like that. Now I'm just doing the thing that I mentioned of going in by hand and getting the detail in that I want. Do like a crease, like so. Okay. Press Q to just get pixels directly. Kind of a low. That's it there. Having like some. Why is it? Oh yeah. Cool to myself, really. That's more like it. Seam. Like this seam in the middle, so keep that. Need some more dark around here. We'll be doing a little. I think we might want another pixel's worth of indentation here. Let's see. Or a duck cake. I know that's a blue question, but do you have any advice on how newbie can get experience in the game outside of game jams? I think definitely opportunities are everywhere, and I think if you want to work with other people, it's just a matter of raising your hand. This is on the assumption that you're looking for only experience and like the keyword there is unpaid. But there's definitely things you can do that make yourself available. Reach out to people. Modding is also a good one. Sharing your work, definitely. I would say that's a good one. A little bit what I'm doing now, actually, like the whole streaming thing is getting a little out there. So I would say that's a good thing. Game jams are good, but we've talked a bit about this, like on Molgaro's stream. They are nice, game jams, but they're also... It's a simulated crunch experience, let's be fair. Can be. And people do... And I've done game jams myself, and you just get so darn tired at the end of it. So be careful about that. It's great stuff, but just be careful about that. Like, yeah, focus on your well-being. The other methods, I think just putting yourself out there, making yourself available. People will immediately get interested very fast. And just keep doing stuff. I think that's the real advantage of things, how they are nowadays, is exactly that, and that you don't need access to certain tools and everything. Like I'm not super old or anything, or at least I like to say that. But like, it's not a situation where it was in the old days, where you might have had to, try and finagle. Like I got in game development just at that cusp, sort of, before when Blender got good and also public licenses became a thing. It's hard to remember now, of course, but the huge deal about Unity back in the day was actually how it managed to break the licensing of game engines back in the day. Because when I started out, you could get Unreal, but private persons wouldn't really have any good opportunities to sell with it. Like, those just didn't exist. Regular old, yes. That's a good way to describe it. See, well, we're doing some saturation stuff here as well. And I would probably tweak that a little bit inside of Blender. Fallout. Old Fallout. Sorry, that was a little bit of a... Sorry, that was a little bit of a ramble, Warduck. If you have any follow-up questions, I would be happy to answer. I would say definitely that is definitely doable. Putting your... Oh yeah, Unreal Script. Oh, sorry. Unreal Script. I remember Unreal Script. I got started on Unreal Engine 3, and like it's actually kind of a wonder that I'm not traumatized, because, or too traumatized, because I started with that, right? And oh god, it was horrible. And then, after that, try my hand at the at CryEngine, which is even worse. Especially back in the day, CryEngine. Oh, there's a reason they call it the CryEngine, and it's, yeah, I'll say it's by programmers for programmers. I'll put it like that. Or just incredibly tedious to work with. Like nothing in conventional made sense about it. Oh, thank you, Warduck. One thing, as I stream and get more comfortable, is that I do like going on a tangent. So now we're just doing a lot of this, painting, and kind of showing you guys that don't worry, you can definitely go and be sloppy about it. Like to blur things a little. And you know, if I was, it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing a character, especially, I would do a lot more. With the layers and everything. It's just that I know any pixel problem that I have from the stacks lower down, I can just quickly knock out and fix. Oop. It was just the autosave. A little scared. Just keep piling on those details. Sorry, let me just take a drink. Made of one person. I get the reference. Oh, now we're in the Accountant soundtrack, which you know, it's really not. It was like a free, not a Kevin MacLeod royalty-free one, but royalty-free all the same. Oh, okay, Carl. Yeah, thank you for saying that. It's difficult to know who's who, right? And you know, you'll have to forgive me for that when people have two usernames. I can get a little confused. Thank you for saying that. This is why I'm Little Norwegians, all places. Little Norwegian since like 1991. No, yeah, that's when I was born, but Little Norwegians since 1999, I would say, something like that. My one and only username. So you can actually track me back, probably. Don't do that, because you'll probably find some very stupid old posts on Newgrounds, things like that. So I am actually kind of glad. I grew up in the era where before the internet had really settled. That's like a larger tangent and everything, but you know, a part of me is just glad that all the embarrassing stuff that I did has like hopefully been deleted and vanished. There wasn't anything extra spicy in there or anything, just dumb kid being a dumb kid, right? Now it feels like it's been Facebook, it's been all those things for a really long time now. And they might not stay forever, but yeah. Cool. Cool. EVE Online. That's I almost get a little intimidated because that's such an interesting game, like mechanically speaking. Now almost like I mentioned, cringe. It's actually very strange. Like I was I didn't get it understandably, I think. But I remember back in the day when before the first Kingdom Come Deliverance had come out, I applied for a job there, and also similarly I did a similar thing. or I forget the company's name, but yeah, exactly, with creators of EVE Online. They have their own engine, I think. Glad I didn't end up working at Warhorse, not for any Warhorse particular reasons, but just because CryEngine, man, CryEngine. You get used to it, of course, but you know, when opening a file is like the most like when that isn't a functionality, you have to basically put it in a folder structure in a certain way under certain naming conditions, and that's just a thing that, you know, you read the documentation and okay, but like every part of that engine is like that, probably for optimization reasons. It's probably way better now. CryEngine. Same with Unreal Engine. Let's see. I'm going to be doing some coloration tricks with this as well. Do some. See, you can just bake in some of the details that you want. We'll also mess it up a little bit. Sorry. So yeah, we'll also be doing. You see here the modifiers. It's like playing super nice with this, but we'll also be doing a little bit of ground dirt on this. Not too much. It's just almost like ambient occlusion for the ground itself. We want some of this. It's kind of amazing that people. It's amazing. Ooh, Mulgardo, are you here? Rogan theme. Godless. I couldn't help myself. Of course, I had to have that in there. For those of you who don't know, you definitely should know. Yeah, Mulgardo here, who also streams. He's also a game developer. Definitely like I would call him inspiration and an institution. So be sure to follow him. But yeah, this is from his game Frogun. He's made 2 games recently, Frogun and Frogun Encore, on various consoles, on Steam, GOG, everything. And like a love letter to, I would say, like classic platformers of the early 3D era, but with its very distinct own identity. And he's like he is such a master at what he does. Especially characters, I would say. Especially characters, like every character there in like Frogun is like Banjo-Kazooie coded ++. It's great. This is the main theme. I forget the name of the artist who did this music, so we'll have to feel free to share that in chat, Mulgardo. Actually, feel free to share a link as well. And if you can't share the link, then I'll share it for you. Mulgardo is actually kind of the guy who inspired me to get a little bit into streaming. Because he really is like a guy who understands how to be a modern day indie developer. Because the trap that I've been falling into is, of course, the typical one of, you know, I just got to get this finished, and then I'll show it. And you know, all these things you tell yourself as a game developer, which aren't true. And he's out there showing stuff basically daily and streaming and getting games out there, and I'm like, I want to do that. So when I grow up, I want to be like Mulgardo. Adam Foley. Thank you. Thank you. Shoutouts to Adam Foley. And I hope this was okay, of course, Molgaro. Please don't sue me. So he's gonna be streaming tomorrow, right? Around the same time, actually. And he does art. Yeah, he'll actually be doing art tomorrow. And he recently had the Binding of Isaac art as well. Great stuff. I'm gonna dirty up this chair a little. Because, you know, this is too nice now to be in combustion. Let's see. So we have some alphas. You can rotate those, set the intensity with your mouse. Kind of cool stuff. Let's see. This. Oh yeah, sorry, we had it on erase. You actually do want a little bit of height. And you can actually apply textures to these brushes, but at this resolution, dirt like this will, yeah, it will basically look like the pixels that it is, rather. Darker. Opacity down a bit. And a thing I like about this program is, I wish I could change this in some way, but what I do like is, you see it goes from 1 to 100, but if you do want more, you just type it in, and then it adjusts itself. Do that up a little bit. Make this an overlay. So, you see here how it does a little extra for it. Ooh, you see that? It got like a face in there. Nose, mouth, eyes. Crazy. The devil really is in the details, because yeah, that looked like evil thing. Well, Dr. Wally, it's interesting that you say that, because yeah, what I decided with streaming is to sort of past and the future all in one, and yeah, you'll notice even the layout of my office here is very much based on the old Recantant character, and yeah, this is a new era, new style. Wanted to try something different. Boiled it down to its basics, you know. See how I took all the clothing and everything, boiled it down to basically a Yogi Bear tie for the office style. The ringtail has only one stripe on it. Very basic head, so yeah, went for something simplistic and, of course, do the animation. And yes, this is Substance Painter Tsunami Quarry. We've been working in Blender. Oh. Why is it? Anyway, we're working in Blender and exporting stuff into Substance Painter. So really, this is the high poly of the chair. This is the low poly. Baked the high poly details onto this, and now this is sort of the results that we're playing with right now. And right now I'm just doing sort of final rendering stuff, and I'm actually gonna be showing one final trick for a little bit of style, but I think this is coming together. You'd see this in the game world and read it as a chair, and you know, probably I would do something like lower the resolution, or because right now it's a little bit too much pixels. But, you know, depends on what you want. a little higher in detail because, like generally, it basically just depends on the style that you want. Well, thank you, Dr. Ellie, and I know exactly what you mean. They have these big comfy chairs in Half-Life, made with I think like a tartar upholstery. It's great. Just gonna need my round brush again. Of course, you can just add filters as well as you go along, because this is very much like Photoshop, so you can do things with levels if you want to do that. Oh, sorry, on this. Oh, good. Since this is the top layer. Am I? There we are. Now we're braining. You can, this is something I like to do at the end, if I want to do it. Now it's really dark and highlighted. Or if you think it's too much, you can turn down the contrast like so. Then maybe you think it's too bright, no problem. You can turn down the universal brightness. You see now this is actually, not so bad, actually. It was, or it is. I usually find myself that doing things like that and just experimenting will get some great results. And I'm gonna do the final trick that I mentioned. I'm gonna do some extra stuff, keep polishing it a little bit, showing a trick that I've learned which I like, is some style. It's like working with saturation. Just playing around with this. You see this? You can get some really funky looking results, and it's the same like this on all of them, because what it does is just brings out all the color. But in combination with things, you can sort of develop a freaky palette. But just having this a little bit, you see how it goes from basically kind of totally gray to having a shimmer of blue in there, a little bit of blue and purple. A little bit of shadow there. I might be crazy, but I think little things like that really makes it pop. Now it sort of has almost like the way gasoline looks in water type look. Might actually be a little bit too strong. That's like a final thing I like to do. And that's how we get some style. How we get some style in there. I do that a lot with my robots and stuff like that, because it does elevate inorganic things, more blended. Yeah, I think so. It makes it look more natural as well. Just finish up with some final details, and then we'll call it a day, right? So while I have you here, any questions or comments or anything so far? I gotta think. There's things I want to improve on and do better in these streams, but as long as you guys can follow along, get something out of it, it can only get better, right? Americans in chat, rise up. North and South on the NES is actually the first ever video game that I played as a child. Or have any like the first memory of. Very strange game to have that with. But yeah, my brother grew up with an older brother, and he had it and basically kind of inherited his game collection along with our father's game collection. they're both alive. I just have them at my place, and yeah, first memories is playing North and South with my brother, who's 5 years older than me. So you can imagine how well it went for me when we played, right? I just like little man running next to the train on screen. That's all I cared about. Yeah. Can plonk this. I can put this down in my game and feel good about it, I think. And keep working on this, well, kind of indefinitely, but I think I'm about ready to call this done. Oh yeah, I was. Cinnamon cookies. I'll show you. You just. It's basically like Photoshop, since you just put a line down and you hold in Shift and you'll see it appear. That's its line tool. Very handy, very handy. Photoshop, I feel Photoshop did have this sort of line tool like this before, where you could see the straight line. Now it does the same thing, but without the line drawn. So yeah, did you catch that, Cinnamon? Otherwise, if you're still listening, it's just dot and then holding in Shift. It's a great tool. Fantastic, fantastic. Let's do some very minor stuff here. Maybe bring out a little bit of color in the wood. Oh yeah, another thing is like it. It's not gonna be this bright. So, and if I'm really feeling tricky, you can just keep doing things on top of this again if you want to. And those very minor things I sometimes like to do is actually the other direction, which is to remove saturation. Still keep it like so. But in cases like that, I typically go really subtle, and it's usually to indicate some kind of wear on something. So definitely lower the opacity. Yeah. It's like now it's getting to a level where I'm not even sure that the stream is able to pick some of this up, but it's just more detail. See that? It depends on what you want. Like, do you want that sort of bleak forward? I kind of want that. I think we could do like the ground dirt mask that I talked about, but I think this kind of looks exactly how I want it. So backside doesn't look too bad either. Okay. I think PS1 will melt. Yeah, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Like, PlayStation could do 128 by 128 like this, or it could cheat it combining stuff. Could do a lot of things. It's just, yeah, it would really struggle once you get into it. It's like if you ever play, there's some games where they do high poly stuff, but it's kind of sneaky, like the The famous T-Rex demo for the PlayStation is an example of that, where it's a one highly detailed model on screen, but since it's the only thing on screen, that PlayStation can render that. And you get some interesting games like the Metal Gear Solid VR missions as like a thing when you're in the menus, you see like a high fidelity version of all Snake's equipment, and then you even have some character renders which are basically kind of at the fidelity of PlayStation 2 character in terms of polygons, but it's literally the only thing in the scene that's rendering is that one character. And so you can still do like this by all accounts, especially with the texture size and everything. This is PlayStation 2 at least in a lot of respects. So I'm gonna shrink down the texture on this to have it fit the PS1 aesthetic, but it's all valid. It's all valid, you know. It's still pixely, still nice. Depends on the style that you want, and I think that's the important part of it. Combustion, I've said in the past, is sort of based on a little bit of how you remember stuff being, rather than the actual detail. And you might ask, what do you mean? And the answer to that is, like, good example, the go-to example is Combustion has volumetric lighting, for instance, and people, you know, that didn't exist at the time, of course. But what it sort of implies is you still had things like pre-rendered backgrounds, or you had things like fog, or you had like God rays through windows, which was just a particle, and sort of just meant to emulate that. And there's sort of fogginess that the those games have. Now we got Metal Gear Solid. Actually, I don't like this track, so we'll skip that. Okay. Cool stuff. Let's go back into the office. So unless there's anything, I think I'm gonna call it there. Learning as I'm doing this. Hope you guys had an okay time. Hopefully the VOD will save this time. That was a little bit of a problem last time, that Twitch ate that, which wasn't great. Yeah, no, it's a little bit chill, a little bit hanging out, not doing anything crazy so far. I'm very excited for what I'm gonna be doing in the future. There's gonna be art stuff like this, taking any questions you guys might have. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing the very analytical playthrough on games like Final Fantasy VII. I also have like ideas for doing stuff related to indie games mostly, because the honest truth is that I just miss a lot of stuff. So it's a good excuse to show some love, show some support, and actually see more what's going on out there. I do still play video games. Like, I know some people do not because yeah, you get a little too swallowed in your own work, but I think it's important to do that and appreciate, and it builds on what great people like Molgardo has said, like how us little guys need to stay together. So yeah, Raccoon in the Day in the background. Join the Discord if you want to see more stuff, if you want to share your opinions, or you can just reach me on Twitter or Blue Sky. So yeah, with that, thank you everybody so much for coming. I'm really gonna try and find a way these days to articulate just how nice, how patient, how good everybody here is to a little guy like me. But for now, I will just have to say thank you so very much for popping in, and yeah, we'll see you next stream. Take care, guys.